So I remember when I was like 15 or 16 years old, I was working at Winnett Mall at the time at a store called Foot Action. It was like a sister of Foot Locker, so we sold sneakers. And I got off work like maybe 10:30, and my mom was out of town. So, and I wasn't talking to my dad at the time, so I didn't have a ride home. I started calling my friends to see if anyone could pick me up, and I couldn't find anyone to pick me up at the time. Everyone was busy. So I went outside because the security was taking everyone out. I went outside and I was just sitting on the bench trying to figure out what to do. And there was another girl out there. She had been sitting there and she saw me sitting there for a while. And she came up to me and she was like, "Hey, do you need a ride home? Or is someone coming to get you?" And I said, she seemed like a nice girl, so I was like, yeah, I mean, actually I was waiting to see if any of my friends could pick me up, but they didn't say anything, and I need a ride home. I only live like 10-15 minutes away, and at the time, I was making minimum wage, like $5 an hour. I didn't have money for a taxi. Buses weren't running at the time, and Uber didn't exist. So I was like, yeah, if you could take me home, I live close by. And then she was like, yeah, that's fine. So then her ride comes, and it's two guys in the car. And she was like, come on, I'll tell them to take you home. And I was like, okay. At that age, you don't make the best decisions. Not the best decisions, but I got in the car. I didn't see another solution at the time. So I got in the car with complete strangers. And when they started driving, they were talking, and I started to get a weird like vibe, like a weird feeling. Mostly because they were speaking a different language. It was European of some sort. I don't know if it was German or something. And they just started talking to each other in their language. And the girl was in the back seat with me, and the two guys were in the front. But the two guys just kept looking at each other, and they would, from time to time, they would look at the girl. And so the girl was like, hey, they're going to drop me off first because I live close and they have somewhere else to go, so they can drop you off on their way. And from there, I just started getting weird feeling. I was like, man, what did I do? Why am I in this car? Where are they taking me? Who are these people? I just, like, all these things just started going in my head. And I started texting some friends and telling them, hey, please come get me. And so we get to the apartment complex where this girl is getting dropped off. They were outside for a second, talking amongst each other. And then I got out of the car and I told the girl, I was like, hey, listen, I was like, my dad actually is coming to get me. So can you please take me back to the mall? Like, he's going to pick me up. He's, going to get me from there. Just tell the guys to please take me back to the mall. They know where I am. He knows where I am. And so, like, I was like kind of saying it with that tone. And then the girl told the guys, and so the guys got back in the car and they started to drive off. And I was really quiet in the back seat. I just wasn't saying anything. And then I called my friend and I was like, hey, can you sure you could come pick me up? I'm going back to the mall. This is where I am. I'm currently here. Like, I just kept saying that and just kind of saying my every movement. So those guys knew, like, I was, someone was on the phone. Someone knew where I was. And she was like, yeah, I got my brother to, come with me. We're going to go pick you up. We're on our way to the mall. And, I just kept being on the phone. The guys kept talking in their language. And I guess they just, I felt like they had ill intent. I don't know, if they did or not, but I just felt weird about the whole situation. Something was off. And so I prayed to God, and thankfully I made it back to the mall. As soon as I got there, I just jumped right out of the car. My friend was already there, thankfully. And actually, no, my friend wasn't there, but I jumped out of I jumped out of the car. Anyways, I was like, I don't care. Like, just leave me here. It's a public place. And then my friend eventually come and get me, and I was so happy. It was, I was really like thankful, because they were coming from far. I think they were in Chambly, and they went to pick me up, and yeah, that's my story. I mean, I definitely would never recommend someone, especially at that age, getting in a car with strangers. And so that's my story for today.